Sir Arthur Ernest Cowley, FBA, was a British librarian who was Bodley's librarian from 1919 until a couple of months before his death. He was also a leading Semitic scholar. Early life and career. Cowley was the fourth son of a customs house agent and his wife from Sydenham in South London. He studied at St Paul's School and Trinity College, Oxford, where ill health and an interest in Oriental languages impaired his study of the classics, and he obtained only a fourth-class degree. He then studied in Switzerland to improve his French and German, before teaching modern languages at Sherborne School, then Magdalen College School. Cowley worked with Alfred Neubauer, sub-librarian at the Bodleian Library, from 1890 onwards on the Samaritan liturgy. The results were published in 2 volumes in 1909. He was appointed assistant sub-librarian in 1896. Together, Cowley and Neubauer published the original Hebrew of a portion of Ecclesiasticus and facsimiles of the fragments hitherto recovered of the book of Ecclesiasticus in Hebrew. When Neubauer left the Bodleian in 1899, Cowley became sub-librarian and also taught rabbinical Hebrew literature, as well as working on a catalogue of the library's Sanskrit collections, and the second volume of the library's catalogue of Hebrew manuscripts. He was appointed as a Fellow of Magdalen College, Oxford, in May 1902, and was awarded a D. Lit. by the university in 1908. He moved to the University of Cambridge in 1912 as Sanders Reader in Bibliography, Bodley's librarian. He returned to Oxford as Bodley's librarian, succeeding Falconer Maiden in 1919. He abandoned, for reasons of expense, the publication of the catalogue of printed books and began a new catalogue on printed slips for post-1919 publications. He worked towards a united management system for the libraries of the university, with the Bodleian taking over other libraries as dependent institutions. In 1923, a Bodleian assistant librarian was placed in charge of the Law Library. In 1927, the Radcliffe Library and Indian Institute Library were annexed to the Bodleian, and in 1929 the Library of Rhodes House was inaugurated. Space for acquisitions was a perennial problem. Coins and engraved portraits were transferred to the Ashmolean Museum, and Cowley's preferred option of an extension to the Bodleian opposite its main site was eventually accepted just before he retired. During his time as Bodley's librarian, he continued to pursue his own research interests, and was regarded as one of the leading Semitic scholars of the time. In 1923, he published the Aramaic papyri of the 5th century, a revision of his 1906 work, incorporating the critical results of the best-known Semitic scholars, his original text largely unaltered. He translated from German into English the last complete significant edition of Wilhelm Gesenius's Hebrew grammar, revised by Emil Couch. This edition is still widely used in Hebrew language studies around the world in the 21st century. Illness and death. Cowley had an operation in May 1931 to remove a tumor. He convalesced in hospital until early August. He was awarded a knighthood in June, and resigned from the Bodleian on grounds of ill health on the 31st of July. He suffered a stroke in Eastbourne during his recovery, and a second stroke after his return to Oxford, where he died on the 12th of October 1931. The bulk of his estate was left to the university for the use of the Bodleian. He had married in 1913, and had adopted 2 sons. Works: Gesenius's Hebrew grammar, edited and enlarged by Emil Couch, translated from German by Arthur Ernest Cowley. The Aramaic papyri of the 5th century, Oxford, The Clarendon Press, 1923. Edited, with translation and notes, by A. Cowley.